All right, mic check, mic check.
I got you on
We
this side.
are okay. Good, good. Welcome everybody. Uh, we are back again with Shelfspace, the podcast. We've been doing this for now and trying to get better at it. One of your hosts, go by Almond Brown on the show. We got with us today Mr. Headache. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Welcome, everybody. Glad that everybody was here to be able to join us on this festive occasion. My name is Headache Mitchell. I am one third of the Fantabulous podcast that's popping on the internets of Shelf Space. Hope to bring something thought provoking and get some conversations going.
All right, all right, all right. And the third member, Mr. Wild West, he may be joining us later on this evening, but we like to have fun. We like to talk about different topics that are in the headlines. We like to talk about mental awareness, mental health awareness, and some of the things that we're seeing in entertainment news throughout the week. We may even cover sports topics sometimes. So that's why we call it shelf space. It's a shelf space that kind of mirrors a lot of the conversations that we have had as friends throughout the years and over social media. And so we wanted to get into again. I always say this isn't a political show, but we are a socially active show. We do follow a lot of the social events that go on, and a lot of times it crosses the lines with politics. So um, you probably won't ever hear us tell you who to vote for, but we'll definitely discuss political topics and social topics. So the big one this week, Roe v. Wade, the constitutional right for abortion, was overturned by the Supreme Court. We kind of got a sneak peek at that as one of the uh, writings were released or leaked. We saw it coming. Um, what's that going to mean for women's health and uh, being able to you know seek an abortion when you're maybe the mother's in danger, or is there a situation where it was rape or incest? All these hot button words start to come up when you talk about abortion. And ironically, the majority of the country feels like a woman should be able to have one up to a certain point. I think a lot of people just kind of agree on that, but see a lot of anger on both sides over this topic, and it kind of circles back to what some of us call, maybe the culture wars. Um, but let's dive into that a little bit as we talk about it. Drop your comments in the comment page. But I wanna be great. We had a woman on the show. We definitely want to get some opinions from her. But um, you know, headache. What did when you saw that headline come across? What was one of the first things that you thought of?
I knew it was going to happen. So, I mean, is it right? No. When I was doing my research on this one, Catherine Colbert, she called this one at her TED talk about a year ago. She said that this was going to happen.
Well, you could see it during the confirmation hearings of these past justices. You could see abortion was a big topic. It kept coming up. What I think what I was most disappointed about was, um, in a sense, a lot of these past three justices were deceptive in their thinking of Roe v. Wade. So that was disappointing. Just they were asked, all three of them were asked, what do they think about Roe v. Wade, and in a sense, they all agreed it was settled law. It was there was nothing to debate. It's been challenged before, and and it has stood up. So, you know, that kind of points to maybe the legitimacy or the legitimacy really and the transparency of the Supreme Court. You got a position that you're going to have for life. So once you're in it, I mean, where's the accountability on that part? I think that's really the most upsetting thing is how they got the position when asked directly about Roe v. Wade, and they're coached to say, it's old law. Um, that was really something that really disappointed me about it. But the fact is that, I mean, honestly, I think I'm along the lines with most Americans. I believe it should be a woman's choice.
I'm in full agreement of that. Um, when me and old lady was talking about this, I told her that people try to make the Constitution make it cover everything, but when it comes down to this is a conversation that should happen between a man, a woman, and God.
I agree. No matter how you feel about it, the conversations I've had, no matter how you feel about it, it's not your decision. I don't. I'm lost on where people think they need to make that decision for the woman or take that decision away from her. Um, that's where it loses me. It doesn't mean you're a baby killer. I like to throw that term out there. Killing it doesn't mean you're a baby killer. It just means that's not your decision to make for her. And it's just still, and I know, like, one of the reasons they want to their reasoning behind overturning it is that, okay, well, abortion was not mentioned in the Constitution. Like, why does it need to be in the Constitution? That kind of is a solid point, that you shouldn't have to legislate that. You shouldn't have to legislate, but the fact that someone is trying to take it away from you, there needs to be some type of protection for it. I mean, it's we had to do it for slavery. We had to do it for marriage, even marriage between a black person and a white person. Interracial marriage had to be addressed, and it's not something that you feel like the Constitution had to cover because you felt like you had that freedom. But once people are trying to take it from you, that's where you need some type of protection for it.
The crazy thing behind this is we did the same thing with voting rights for women, but then white women are they're just as bad off as black women are because their fates are held in the hands of Caucasian white men. White men said that you can't vote, you can't vote. White men said that you got to carry this baby, you're gonna carry this baby. And it's like I said, I am so not a fan of this, but this is a victory lap for Donald Trump. This is what he wanted, and he got it, and he's still winning after he has departed. He's still getting his way.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if this is what he wanted. I think it's what they used him for. Um, that was really Mitch McConnell was really the architect of that, to not give Merrick Garland even a hearing, to not even give him a hearing was, um, it was just plain out cruel. As someone who's spent his life being a judge and aspires to be on a high court, to have earned an opportunity to do that, and you don't even give him a hearing. That's the game of politics, and he did it with no remorse. And then when the opposite situation came up, to where now, okay, a term is ending, you don't want to allow a president that's going out of office to put somebody on the court that's going to be there for life. then he changes. You know what I mean? And so it was really. That's why I keep seeing. I've heard the word culture war. It was really a battle for, look, this is going to be a cultural hot button. We're going to restrict abortions. We're going to, and the argument, the right argues that we believe in the sanctity of life, and you know life starts at the moment of conception. Okay. uh, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert on it, and definitely not an expert on abortion. But I just, again, feel like you have that choice. Even God gives you a choice, whether you're going to make the right choice or the wrong choice. He's going to allow you to make your own choice. And I just don't understand the point of, they feel like they need to play God in this. And Donald Trump, I was listening to Michael Rappaport on his Instagram page. He goes at Trump constantly, but he brought up something that a lot of us believe, and that is Donald Trump has probably paid for several abortions. We don't know that for a fact, but we assume, based on his lifestyle. So I don't know if he was definitely a fan of, or a champion for ending abortion, but they used him for that.
Yeah, but the hands in that thumbnail that you posted that I sent you.
Yes.
Those are Kavanaugh's hands. That cartoon came out around the time that Kavanaugh was being when his hearing was going on. So those could possibly be his hands. But that's what he was picked for.
Right.
That was the primary reason why he picked him, was for Roe versus Wade. He had already called this one as soon as he put him out there. And he knew he was going to have to play ball, because this is a position that you're going to take for the rest of your life. Either you retire out or you die out. You cannot be fired.
Right. And I have a problem with that. There's no job there's no job in America that doesn't have some level of accountability. Now, we'd like to see more on some, but at some point there's a check and balance for, are you doing your job correctly, or are you just out of control? Well, where is the check and balance for the Supreme Court? Like you said, you and I think, hey, what's up, Angie? Angie's tuning in, and Erica's watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. I know they're definitely have been very vocal about the Supreme Court decision, but this is where I think maybe the regular voter, the everyday voter, and even some on the Democrat side missed the boat, where they didn't really see the Supreme Court as a weapon. Where I think the Republicans the whole time were looking at the Supreme Court as a weapon. We're going to weaponize it. We're going to put conservative judges on the court, and we're going to funnel an agenda through that. Now, the Supreme Court should not be involved in politics. I think Alito kind of mentioned that in a roundabout way when they made the decision, and kind of put it back on the states. But we know what's going to happen. Republican states are going to restrict it. Democratic states are going to, make it more accessible. But then what happens when a Democratic state all of a sudden flips and becomes a Republican governor? What's going to happen then? Now, you know what I mean? So this inconsistency on what is going to happen with abortion probably it's got a lot of women kind of upset, and men.
But all of this stuff I don't even think is politically. Most of it is politically driven. But like with laws, everything is personally driven. That if I don't like something, this is the way I'm rolling. Whether it's right or wrong, it's how I feel, and that's what I'm rolling with. And I'm not a fan of that one. Right is right, wrong is wrong. make the proper decision. My thing with this is, what happens if they get it wrong?
Right.
Then what happens? Who's held accountable then? Because a lot of lives are going to be lost. Well, now you might as well say multiple lives are going to be lost with the fact that you've seen this before with self-abortions. You lose a mother and you lose a child.
Right.
Where are they held accountable with on that?
Yeah. And some of the responses have been, well, some employers are trying to, find ways of where the insurance maybe can cover some travel, and I mean, people are scrambling, trying to find ways around it or ways to help, but it's gonna. I mean, this has a feeling that it's gonna end up back in the Supreme Court again. Someone's gonna, challenge it, and it's gonna go through the courts, and and it's gonna end up back there again, just some kind of way. And we need to get, at some point, I guess we need to get over that. It shouldn't have to be in the Constitution that a woman can make her own healthcare decisions. Why does that have to be in the? Why, like, we assume that is a right. That is a part of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, it shouldn't have to be in the Constitution. I just, where is and then we've got this, a country that one side says, well, I don't want the government to tell me what to do, but then you're okay with this. Angie made a great comment here. She said the hypocrisy couldn't have been more blatant. She's right. And she even mentions the open carry law that people, deaths, that are caused, in these shootings, but are going to say, hey, you can't have an abortion, and then some of the rhetoric that comes out of that is like, I think the people who are really, really staunchly against it think women are out there using abortion as a form of birth control. And again, I'm not an expert in it, but I would imagine, and just, I've in my past, I've known some, that have had to, grapple with that decision. It is a very emotional decision. No matter what what the circumstances were, it's a very emotional decision for them. I don't know anyone that became pregnant through rape or incest, but the relationship with the boyfriend, comes to find out they're pregnant, and may not be something that they definitely weren't planned on, but that's not an easy decision for a woman to make. And rather than shaming them and restricting them, it needs to be, like you said right at the beginning, left up to her doctor, the man she's involved with, and God.
I mean, because at the end of the day, on the day of judgment, I know I have to stand in front of Allah, and I know that there's questions that He's going to ask for something like that. That should be left up to the human being to have to take accountability for what it is, versus you having somebody else to tell you this is the only option that you have. Like I said, this was bad. We're gonna keep going back and forth over this. A huge problem that I have with those that are for taking women's rights away. You're not going to offer anybody anything else. We have a difficult time dealing with the children that we already have on this earth, much less talking about injecting more children that are going to be dumped off into society. And then what happens? then we got to start getting back into this. Well, you shouldn't have had them. You shouldn't have taken my rights away. We're always going to go back and forth with that. But I
Right.
mean, that is a woman's decision. That is a father's decision as well too. We always leave the fathers out of this. They have no say so in it. Her word is the last word, and it's a conversation that both people need to have versus putting this just on women.
I agree. I'm going to agree with you there. Men need to be held accountable also. But ultimately, still, it's going to come down to that woman. She's got to carry it. The baby's not going to survive unless she's nourishing it. So it is her decision. Now, the accountability part on men. This can I said this earlier in the week. This debate can be over immediately if men take accountability for getting women pregnant. If you know you're involved in a woman and if she was to get pregnant, that's going to be a problem, or it's going to lead to the question of this is going to be an unwanted pregnancy. Then don't get her pregnant. You know that, and I know it sounds ridiculous. I know, you know, but abortions would end if men don't get. I just said it. Just men don't get them. Why does the man get off with no accountability? Why is it? When I speak to young ladies, especially young ladies in my family, and I try to get them going in the right path, and I warn them. I said, look, let me tell you something. They can say whatever they want. This, I love you. I'll be there for. You're going to be left holding the bag. It is your body that goes through the changes, and you deal with the hormone changes and just the struggles of motherhood, the postpartum. You're the one, so you gotta just take it serious. Uh, you know, um, do everything you can to be in control of whether you want to be pregnant or not. But then also the man needs to understand that this is not something you do and then, oh well, that's her decision, and you walk away. That's cruel. To have to for her to have to deal with that emotional decision on her own. My quote to you this past week was a Beastie Boys song. No skeet till Brooklyn. All right, put it away. Don't don't put
Really,
yourself out there.
really,
Yes,
really,
yeah,
really,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really,
We can stop.
really. That's what you're saying.
Yes, men can stop it. Men can stop putting these women in these situations. That's some of it. Now, let's be honest. That's not every unwanted pregnancy is not just that.
So
But
we totally gonna forget about how it was when we were a young 21-year-old, and we got to use the pistol. We got to pull the pistol out, and we got to use it with reckless abandonment. We're gonna totally
oh
we're
wait
gonna
wait
we're gonna speed
oh,
right past that, right?
uh,
We're gonna
uh,
speed right past that. Like we just totally bypassed that coming up.
well no, hold on, because nothing's changed. I don't think anything's changed from when we were coming up. I was scared to death of getting someone pregnant. Most of the guys I know, despite some here, most of the guys I know, if they had gotten someone pregnant or were to do it, they were going to be involved and be a father and be engaged. I don't know a few that just did it and it just took off, but they took it serious. They did. Um, I was scared to death of it
Who would
because it's
it
not.
who would it have impacted more, your moms or your pops? May the Lord peace and blessings be upon both of them.
Who would it have impacted more? Ooh, probably, probably mom. I mean, in my mind, the disappointment would have been, just overwhelming in her, in my eyes, with her. So,
But I mean, we teach this thing that I'm grown.
yeah, but we say that, but
Always the fact that we're grown until one thing happens, and
right,
then we pray to be a kid again.
right, yeah, we say that until some real stuff goes on, and then we're backtracking, but um, yeah, but the man is. I don't know. I don't know how much responsibility that we are told to have when when a woman gets pregnant. Like we're just told to take care of it, take care of the baby. If you make a baby, take care of the baby, and that's kind of it. It's kind of like it's your responsibility to take care of the baby. But maybe we should be really saying to young men, it's your responsibility to not put her in a situation to where she's got to make this an unbelievably hard and emotional decision about the rest of her life because you know didn't take precaution.
Okay, but I don't control that. I don't control your fertility. I do not control your access to sex. I have no control in that.
You can control what you do, Ro, right? Yes.
Yes, but we are an overly sexualized population. That you gotta do whatever you gotta do because there's nothing better than sex. As a man, this is the very best that it's gonna get. As that old joke goes, when it comes to sex, if God made anything any better than this, He kept it for Himself.
Hmm.
And when it comes to paying, the only two options that we have when it comes as men, when it comes to children, either you pay for the abortion or you pay child support.
Uh, we know, a lot of them aren't going to say, but are hoping for. Um, just, child support is
A weapon,
yeah,
a
yeah.
bill,
But
a bill.
but again, it's on. Like a woman doesn't get pregnant by herself. It's on the dude. It's on the man.
I'm not saying that it isn't. It is. It is. Honestly, it is.
You know how you blame men for when a relationship fails. You want to blame
Don't
a
do
man.
that. Don't do that. Don't do that. We can't.
Well,
We can't.
yeah,
No, no, no,
same thing.
no, no,
When
no.
a woman gets pregnant, you need to blame a man.
Okay, but see now what you're getting ready to do with my mental statement is you're getting ready to weaponize it, and you're only going to make it one sided. I'm still going to take the same stance, whether it deals with pregnancy, whether it deals with day to day operations of a relationship. When a problem goes bad, it's always a man's fault. So I'm not going to do this. What you're getting ready to do with you're responsible here. Eh, she knew better over here. Because if we're going
Look,
to do that, you could play the same politics with the same wording. Yeah, she knew better. She knows when her cycle is. She knows when not to have sex.
well, yeah. I mean, there's a you've got a point there, but as a man, I've got all boys, and I tell them, I've told them, I said, dude, listen, son, you're 200% responsible for her getting pregnant. I said, you can stop this. This debate that's going on. It doesn't have it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. You as a man, you got to take precaution. and you have to be disciplined. And and then this is rough for dudes, but you may have to be the one that says, you know what, nah, not tonight. Nah, no, that's okay. This isn't the right time for that. Who can say that? God, let me tell you, all of us can do that. All of us can.
No, no.
All of us can do that. Yes, we can.
You for yourself, you know how bad temptation is.
Yeah, yeah.
Let them Zoom Flight 95s come out, and you got something else that you need to do that can wait just a little bit longer. That both of them are due on the same day.
Mm. I
Then,
can talk. I can talk myself out of it. I can talk myself out of it.
but when you're in the heat of the moment, you're more wanting and you're more willing to talk yourself into it.
So in the heat of the moment, let's just get real dude right now. Let's get real dudes right now. So in the heat of the moment, it ain't no turning back. Is that what you're saying? You can't say, you know what, this is not. This ain't the right situation. Nah, can't do it.
The old
Can't do it.
me, the old me, no. The new me, yes. I had a situation where I cooked dinner for this young lady. Everything was going, had the little mixtape going in the back.
Ooh, not the mixtape. Uh-oh.
Mixtape going, so I had the music
Sweet
going.
Anita.
I went on ahead and I cooked everything. I had a bowl of strawberries with my vanilla sugar
Right.
and some sparkling cider over in the sitting area. So we sitting there, we talking. It's getting close. The next thing you know, she reached and she grabbed it, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! I wanted it, and I wanted it from her, but it wasn't right." And where I'm getting ready to spin this is, I'm ready to spin this on your boy, Uncle Murder. I mean, not Uncle Murder, Lil Murder
No.
with Big T.
Uh, oh man. So
It's
stuff.
it's it's the same thing. The thing that he did to Big T, it's the same thing that we do. Lil Murder, he shoplifted the booty. And
Oh man.
when that whole situation was going down, when he was in the bathroom and he looked at him,
So why you gotta do that?
it started going bad. It started getting real bad for me because when he stopped and then Big T didn't do anything, I was like, man, don't do this. Don't do this. But then when he took advantage of the situation, that's what we do. As men, we pounce on the situation like it will never happen again. So, and when we was coming up, we had this thing about hurry up and get it in before she could say no. And we do that.
Mm, man. But it is okay. So all right. So let's go into that scenario a little bit. Not murder and teeth, but young people getting into that situation to where the heat of the moment, the call of the wild. Sometimes your heart gets caught up in things, and you know, things one thing leads to another. But here is what I think we could start teaching men, young boys, to help them be more responsible. And again, the young lady's going to take responsibility also, but the men can also work and to help be more accountable, more responsible, to understand the emotional pain and the journey that young lady has to go through to even get to that point. Like, it's not like I hate it when I hear people, and Angie mentioned it, people these religious people will call them baby killers. You come baby killers, but that lady's going through such a rough emotional time that I just feel I really feel bad for them to be, for her to be in that situation, not only feeling alone, but feeling like, her options are limited. What is she going to do? She understands that, this boyfriend, this person she was with may not be with her to care for this baby, and she's not ready for it. All of this. And these people are like, well, you shouldn't have laid down. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. But whatever your own personal thoughts are, it is not your decision to make. And I think what we need to do is understand, like, the root of the the turmoil and it is going on with the woman. And if the man could understand what, like, after you get her pregnant and what her body goes through, what she goes through emotionally, and if you have any heart for her, any kind of feeling for her, you would be like, you know what, I'm gonna take as much precaution as I can to make sure that you don't get pregnant. Like, I just think that would be the thing to do. Like, if you just care for her as a person, and sometimes, yeah, you know what?
But I don't care for you as a person. You are an
Well,
opportunity. You are an opportunity, and that's. As I told my little cousin after she had her son, I told her, I am not your cousin at this stage of the game. I am a man. I am getting ready to give you the most vital game that you will ever need in your life. Men come for sex, they stay for something else. So this thing about the only thing a man wants is sex, that's partially true, but we come for the booty first. We hang around for everything else afterwards. And if there is nothing else after that, pew, I'm out of here. You are an opportunity.
wow.
And of course, she sat there and she looked at me like I was stupid. And her grandmother was like, "Baby, you may want to listen to him. He already told you he's not his cousin." And I told her, sweetheart, you don't want to run into somebody like how I was 395 on a Saturday night when I thought I was about half-assed cute. I'm coming at you. I'm coming. I'm not going to take it, but I will provide you with options. And I said what I had to say to get what I wanted to get. Sometimes I stayed, sometimes I didn't. And that's a reality.
Yeah, but you did. Okay, so your attitude, that the attitude that you had then, would it have changed, or would you have had a different perspective? Have you understood what what would happen if she had gotten pregnant, if y'all didn't stay together, and she went through that emotional decision of having an abortion, and years later, still dealing with, just the emotional scars from that. Um, would you have, would you have still had the same attitude?
At that stage of the game, possibly. That was then, that was a younger,
All right,
affected me
right.
versus an educated person that I am now, a more empathetic person now.
Mm.
Um, right before I went to Desert Storm, the chick I was with at the time, we were sitting in the truck and we were talking. And she said she thought she was pregnant. I was scared to death. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And she started crying. What do you mean you don't know what to do? What are we gonna do? And she looked at me for all the answers. And the only thing that was running through my mind was I done effed up this girl's life.
Now it hit you. Now it hit you.
I done effed up this girl's life.
Mm.
And we was 18, 19, 19, just getting life started. She had just gotten her job. She was on the right path to do the right thing. And here it is. I'm about to take this girl's life away. And I'm getting ready to go off to war too. So I got to leave you possibly for the whole entire thing. And the other portion that was getting me was, what if I don't make it back?
Right.
And then now I got to leave you to raise this child by yourself.
Hmm. Now, now it hits you. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking that about tomorrow, not the right now.
And looking back on the situation, it wouldn't have lasted no way. I mean, because the relationship didn't last anyway, because of other things, because of me leaving and serving my country. I got that. I didn't get the Dear John letter. I got the Dear John action.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because of her own stuff that she had going on personally. But, I mean, it still wouldn't have lasted. It would have gotten worse because I would not have been there with her during her pregnancy. But the crazy thing about all of this is I've wanted to be a father since I was 12 years old. I knew I wanted to be somebody's father at 12 years old. I knew it.
Yeah.
But it has been browbeaten into me. You must be a husband first. There's a natural order of things. First come love, then come marriage, then come the folks with the baby carriage. I have held myself accountable to that one since I started getting browbeaten with that one.
Mm-hmm. That's something that it would help. I think to see. I think we can all agree. Everyone on both sides of the abortion argument can all agree that we would like there to be less abortions, or less pregnancies that are unwanted, less women having to make that emotional decision. Men who are maybe again like going through them same emotions you feel like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I need to step up and be a man, and but maybe I do want her to have an abortion, but I don't want to tell her. All of those things that go into that. So we're just talking about that one scenario. We're not talking about rape and incest and life of the mother, but I think when the first thing people think of when they think of abortion, they think of single women out there being promiscuous and using it as birth control, and I just don't see that as who's having abortions. Angie shared some of her comments in the post here that really, I mean, deeply personal, and and I just know that just having, if you've ever heard a woman's story about having to make that decision, and you see her just talk about it, and you're like, oh my gosh, just how emotional that is. Like you, I was always just kind of like, look, you have a child, you gotta get married. You have a child, you gotta, that was it. And so I was afraid to, I was afraid. And so, that a lot of times would just kind of, keep you from just putting yourself in situations where it could happen. Um, you know, and running from situations where it's going to happen. So it is tough to see, um, and it's just tough to see the reaction of some people. I just don't like the hatred that is pointed against women that feel want to have the right to do that. You know. And Dawn left a comment here. Let's see how a ban on vasectomies would go. She's right. I mean, vasectomies. Yeah. A lot of the medical, you know, things that men want to do, or men want to go for. You don't really have problems with with that. No one's trying to tell a man what he can do with his body. Viagra is covered, and a lot of insurance is covered Viagra, which is and the Supreme Court is starting to. I mean, I don't know if it's a rumor, but they're saying the right to contraceptives may not even be constitutional. It's I just don't understand this war on women and this push to make them to take control away from them to make decisions because you feel like your religious beliefs or your personal beliefs are telling you that it's wrong.
But you're not going to tell me what I can do with my body because I make the rules.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's how it has always been. It's
Right.
not right. That's what I'm saying. We've gone through the same thing with voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
Women,
Yeah.
period, black or white, you could not
Right.
vote because
Right.
I'm telling you, you can't vote.
The scary thing is the same reasoning they used to overturn Roe v. Wade can be applied to voting rights. It can be applied to marriage. It can be applied to integration. It's so much. It's the same thinking. You could just overturn it.
If I turn it on, I can turn it off. I pay the light bill. I control the light company. The whole ecosystem is mine. I do with it as I please. Something else that I was diving down a rabbit hole about with this is this could possibly be about the shrinking Caucasian population as well too.
Explain that. I'm not sure what that means.
Population control. It's that over the last census that they did, they're tracking this percentage of ethnicities in America, and for the last decade, the we have more Caucasians dying than we have that are being born.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I know.
But
Yeah.
what they're saying is that they're looking to plan for the next 100 years out. That they're scared to death. That there will be no more Caucasians. That there would only be a very few Caucasians, a large gap of multi-race,
Right.
and then black and brown people.
Right. Yeah. So the browning of America. If you ever
The diversity,
you
yes.
can watch Fox News and hear about that. Um, yeah. So, I mean, it's inevitable, man. We're in a country where we've been taught it's a melting pot. Everything was let's just go back to elementary school where everything was so harmonious and loving, and there all these pictures of different colored kids standing around holding hands. It's a small world after all. I mean, we're in America. It's a diverse country. There was bound to be, over time, there's, it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. It's there's nothing wrong with it. I just there's nothing wrong with it. What America needs to stop doing, and is stop being afraid of our differences, and embrace it and celebrate it, and enjoy all the cultures that we have here. So you know, it just. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't know how much abortion would affect that. It's just like, look, you're gonna have kids. We're gonna make you have kids. You get pregnant, you're gonna have the baby, and we'll give it up for adoption or foster or whatever. I,
But that's one of the areas that you're losing your children in. And from what they were saying is that in order for this to balance itself out within the next 100 years, that Caucasians need to have 1.9 children And at the rate that they're going, they're only having them at 1.4. So they won't be able to catch up with.
Well, if they ban abortion or to restrict abortion, that means everybody's having more kids, you know.
But the thing is, behind that one is people are waiting later to have children. People are
uh,
actually looking at the perspective of not having children at all. Where beforehand, you were demonized if you were early 20s and you weren't married. Early 20s and you didn't have children. But when you got married, why you don't have any kids? Why don't you have kids? Why don't you have kids? Now it's socially acceptable to wait till later to have children. You're looking at a 52-year-old man that is still contemplating having his first child. I have to battle with that and ask myself, is that being irresponsible?
no, no.
But I know that I only have 25, 30 years, if I am lucky, if Allah permits that. I'm going to make a child fall in love with me and not have the same opportunity that I have had for 52 years to have my father in my life and not be able to extend that to my child. Possibly die at an early age and then leave my child behind.
Well, then you need to, you know what you need to do is take care of yourself, make sure that you're here, you know, so that you don't die at an early age.
Okay, but I cannot. I'm on the other side of the mountain now. I'm not even at the pinnacle. I'm on the other side of the mountain.
Look, you can get old, but you don't have to be old. You know, stop using all that I'm old language. Don't use that.
It's not about being old. This is about having an honest conversation with myself, knowing what it is that I am facing. It's not the fact that I'm afraid of raising a child at this age, but taking away opportunities that could have been had I had made better decisions at an earlier junction in my life.
Well, I don't want to hear you, beat yourself up about the decisions you made earlier in your life. You know, I don't want to hear you say that.
I don't regret it. With anything I am remorseful, I don't regret the things that I have done. They've made me a better person, done some bad things coming up, but in the end, it's made me a better person. My story didn't die there.
Right.
My story is still, and I still have time to correct the wrongs that I have done.
Right. And to your point, Don made a comment, or two comments I'm going to read off here. Don said, the census projects that the U.S. will be minority white in 2045. So, which, okay. I'm like, okay, hopefully there's no one here, there's no one out there that reads that and think it's threatening. But I'm afraid that there are some people out there that feel like that is threatening when they hear that. That's unfortunate. I mean, this country has always been on a course for multi-ethnic, multiracial, families and people, and that's why I think all along we should have just been celebrating our cultures instead of trying to erase them and then say, okay, there's just one American culture. It's that. And then on the abortion topic, Angie made a really good point about the Supreme Court we talked about earlier. These lifetime appointments. Well, the Supreme Court is supposed to be, an equal branch of government, the judicial branch, but they don't make policy, but they are being weaponized to make policy. That's to her point, that the Supreme Court is they're being used for that. And again, Mitch McConnell was very strategic about taking over the court, because now that you've got your peoples, your picks on the Supreme Court, you've got that majority, you can do all kinds of things. You can just push stuff policies that come up to get voted on, like abortion. You don't want to deal with it, push it to the court and let the court, rule that, oh, it's unconstitutional. We'll turn it back over to the states, and now the states got all the power to make that decision. Which watch what they do with marriage. I think that's going to be. I think gay marriage is going to be next.
Your man's just pushing that.
Yeah. I think gay marriage is going to be next.
And no one asked him for that. He volunteered that. That was your man's in there. When he himself, with all the stuff that's come along with him, he needs to just sit down and deal with what's there. Don't inject your feelings into anything when no one asks you about gay marriage. Leave it alone. And you're the only one. You're the only black person. You're the only black male. But then you're going to open the door for your personal feelings when no one asks you.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a talking point. It wasn't even a soundbite. But then now we're going to inject something else. I've already damaged y'all. I'm coming after the rest of y'all as well, too. I'm going to lead the charge.
Well, while a lot of us voters and a lot of the Democrats were asleep at the wheel, that's what the long game was. It was to take over the Supreme Court, so that now you can basically rule or legislate without having a majority.
I am the last word.
Yes.
There's nothing after me. What I says, it
goes. And they are lifetime appointments, which is ridiculous. If I had a job if I got hired somewhere and they were like, hey, you're going to be here for a lifetime. You can't be let go. Are you kidding me? I might work 2 days a week, maybe, if that.
Of course.
I'm gonna do half the job. I'm gonna do basically what I'm gonna do what I want. There's no accountability on that. No.
That position itself is a middle finger to the rest to the whole entire United States. F you, there's nothing you can do about this.
Yeah.
You can tie it up in court all you want to, but you gotta stop talking at some point in time. And I have not heard a word that you said. Bam. I just need to get what, 4 more? 5 of y'all? I just need 5 of us. And I just need to convince 1 or 2 of you all, and the rest of y'all will do the talking for me.
Now I wonder if Biden said that when he was asked were you going to expand the court, that would be funny, but also dangerous because Republicans can turn around and do the same thing when they're in power. So I don't know. It's this abortion topic. I think is never gonna. No one's ever gonna. We're not gonna agree 100% on it. But the things I think we will agree on, like we talked about with gun control, the things I think we will agree on is that we would all feel great about there being less abortions rather than more. We'd love that. We'd also feel like a woman should have that choice up to some point. And even if, just basically have that choice. Let her determine, with her doctor and her significant other and her God, is this what I need to do? Because, the way they beat them up sometimes and they attack them is like, they act like, oh my God, if you had an abortion, you'll never walk through the gates of heaven. And that's not true. That's not true. Um, and sometimes religious people can be overzealous and they can be so self-righteous is a good word. Angie used that word. They're absolutely right. So self-righteous, they get fixated on one hot button, and it's abortion. And I've got some friends, I've talked to about that. Abortion it triggers them, and and they see people on the other side of that as they demonize them. You know what I mean? So, and that's just not the case. If you ever really, heard a woman's story about the struggle she went through to make that decision, you would not demonize that woman. You wouldn't do it.
But we always make other people's sins are bigger than our own. We always want to demonize somebody else's sins when we sin the same way, but in a different aspect.
Dawn says she sounds like there's a washing machine in the background. There's my fish tank going on. You know what? I'm gonna unplug it. I'll unplug the filter so we don't get that noise. And she said to lighten the mood. And Don, we are gonna actually move on to our some other topics, but we did want to get this out. We know it's been tough for women this week to have to deal with that, but we're gonna move on. Again, we'll just finish it with. I think we all can come to an agreement on that a woman should have it, should have the choice. But we also will probably agree that we would like to see fewer of them. So,
nobody wakes up and say, you know what? I'm getting ready to get this broad pregnant, and today is a great day to have an abortion.
Right.
I'm trying to have 5 abortions, 5-man abortion squad by the time I turn 30. Nobody's doing that.
Right.
This is not. No woman wakes up and saying, "I'm going to get pregnant by this guy just so I can have an abortion."
I agree.
We have heard situations where people have used the abortion money to go ahead and finesse the dude out of some change. But then you still have to deal with the situation. You deal with the person. You deal with that person.
Give me a minute here. I'm gonna unplug this fish tank, and then we're gonna wrap that up and quickly touch on P Valley and some gaslighting with the Toxic Avengers. So hang on just a second. All right. Okay. And then one last comment here is Dawn. She said, gave natural childbirth to 5 children, and I would have been mortified if I was forced to do so. that's a good point. Andy said, "Don't let the fish die. They won't. They'll be all right without the filter running." So, but thanks for the comments. But yeah, let's move on a little bit. And I meant to touch on this last week. So those who may not follow the show, it is not for everybody. I've read that comment today.
No, I'm not for everybody.
So P Valley is a new series on Stars. Stars has been really good at producing some of these dramas. P Valley deals with a strip club, or well, not to say it's based around a strip club in Mississippi. Chucalissa, I believe, is the name of the city. But it's really about women um, women struggling with emotions, dealing with relationships, dealing with, raising kids. And I mean, and a lot of what we talked about here, the religious culture war. So you got uh, the religious side versus the, I just want to be me side. There's, you know, homosexuality in it. There's drug use. There's all of this stuff. Uh,
Whole
I
lot
mean,
in
there's
there.
a lot. There's a lot
Whole,
going on in P Valley,
whole lot of
and
life in there.
yeah, and so I don't want to give away, any of the plot if you haven't seen the latest episode. I think it's 4 episodes in, but this is the second season, and it is again based around the strip club. Basically, everything centers around the strip club. It is not a big town in Mississippi, and there's a political struggle going on over ownership of the land. There's a business struggle going on about who wants to own it. There's man, you name it. There's uh, you know a, a burgeoning rap career for one of the characters that's in there who also happens to be uh, gay, and you kind of don't see first. You don't see that at first, and then there's a couple scenes that just slaps you with it. So even homosexuality in the jail culture has found its way into the script. So, oh man, uh, it is not for everybody. But one of the things that I will say that I've got from the writing of it and development of the characters is there's a lot of things dealing with personal demons, and you're watching characters either try to overcome them or be consumed by them. That's kind of my take on that. What is yours, Headache? What you seeing on that?
I'm seeing generational dysfunction with
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes, with the issues that she has going on with her moms and the issues that she has going on with her daughter.
Yeah.
Um, Uncle Cliff being Uncle Cliff and being all in your face with it. Little murder. People tell you to be who you are, but you can't be what you want to be. The struggle with that. The domestic violence with Mississippi. Not just the physical violence, but the emotional, um, the racial violence as well too. Where when she protected her dude from Diamond, but Diamond was telling the truth, where he said that where he made mention about the gutter November 1994s,
Yes.
and she said that she didn't believe him, having to deal with that, and then you have children by this man, and where this is going with her taking care of him, and he does not have a job, but he
Mm-hmm.
wants to keep her inside of this bubble to protect her and to keep her safe with him in his own personal hell versus letting her go out and do her thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that girl Whisper, something ain't right about Whisper. Something ain't
So
right about her.
So as I was watching this, and Angie asked what night does it come on, I believe it comes on Sunday nights.
Sunday
But if
night.
you, yeah, if you've got stars, you can watch it. Like I think they release it for streaming Saturday. But just know that it is very explicit content. I just want to telling you. I just want you to be ready. So one of the things that I put in the title for the show today was gaslighting, and that we had talked about it last week. We talked about anxiety last week, but we want to talk about gaslighting because it is something that I see in the show. Something that maybe when we're talking about mental awareness, mental health, there's some things that maybe we've done in relationships before. But you mentioned that control. I'm trying to control this person, and so gaslighting is a term that is something that people do sometimes in relationships to manipulate people and to control them. I just pulled up the what kind of giving you a definition of it. So gaslighting is the use of a pattern repetitive set of manipulation tactics that make someone question reality. It's often used by people with the narcissistic personality disorder, abusive individuals, cult leaders, criminals, dictators. It's important to point out gaslighting is a pattern behavior. It's intentional and it's designed to make you question your experiences. So it's a way to control you in sort of a passive aggressive way. And when you mentioned how he was trying to keep her from really becoming becoming
A
a
superstar?
yes, yeah, because he saw what was going to happen. He was going to get out of her. She was going to get out of his sphere of influence, and and he tried to use different things against her, make her feel guilty, question her abilities, those type of things. It made me think about what times have we been in relationships where things like this may happen. You know what I mean? And it usually starts with people they will be the loudest voice. They will try to isolate you. You know what I mean? So you can't talk to people. And you see a lot of that going on in that particular relationship. You made a really good point about Mercedes. Mercedes is from the beginning one of my favorite characters, but she had a child. They went into her background, had this child when she was really young, and
Okay.
right, and was pretty much deemed an unfit mother, and so was kept away from her. And um, and then she struggles with that relationship with her own mother, again. And you starting to see that same development with where she's trying to break that curse, but you can see even just by some of her actions, some of the things that she's doing, it looks like it's going to continue. And the other thing that I mentioned to you was about Uncle Clifford. And for those who haven't seen the show, so Uncle Clifford is one of the main characters of the show. He was the original owner of the Pank, that's the strip club, and he lost it. It got foreclosed on, but one of the girls, one of the strippers actually in the show, purchased it, and so he was able to maintain control of it. But from my thing about Uncle Clifford, and he's gay, is that Uncle Clifford in the first season was a really strong personality. He wasn't emotional. He had emotions, but he just wasn't phased emotionally. And he lives with his mother, and just seems like he has been kind of some of his life experiences have toughened him up. But he was really tough with the girls, but he was also a really shrewd, tough business person. He was really direct. He really kind of drove home what his intentions were and what he wanted done. And so he's really strong in that first season, you know. Even as a gay character, he's just strong personality, strong person. In season two, I don't see that. He's much more emotional. Listen. What I know. Listen. He is much more emotional. He's much more. They've even made him more flamboyant. He is really like letting himself become emotionally tied up by those Lil Murder who he has feelings for, and I, I'm assuming Lil Murder has feelings for him. He's gotten really
Same.
emotionally tied into that, and he's not the same character that he was last season.
What's the difference?
He's his edge is gone. He's more vulnerable. He has made himself very vulnerable, and he wasn't doing that last year. And when you look at his character and you see that okay, he lives at home with his mom, he takes care of his mom. You can see that Clifford probably has had a lot of disappointments in his life. A lot of those relationships didn't work out, so he's not as vulnerable. He wasn't vulnerable in that first season. He didn't put himself out there to be hurt. But now in this second season, he's easily like just letting himself get caught up in the belief that he's really like gonna have something with Lil Murder. You know?
You sure about that? Cause I mean, he playing Lil Murder. He done turn Lil Murder into a sucker. He's not even a man in love anymore. Lil Murder is turned into a straight up sucker. And when he was standing there at the door with, have you seen Uncle Cliff? And he want to start. I just want to tell him that I'm about to go out on tour, and then Cliff want to touch the door, and I'm like, man, come on, man, why y'all doing this? Why you being a sucker at the door? Just go ahead. You could have handled this over the phone. Talk about I've been sending messages,
right?
And he won't answer me back. So now what you about to go over here and do this? And give Uncle Cliff, give him the leverage? With all of those postcards, I got it. This is now Uncle Cliff is being a girl right about now. I got it. He ain't going nowhere. He mine. I can have him whenever I want him. I could do with him whatever it is I got him.
I didn't see that. No, didn't see that.
You didn't see that? You didn't see that?
No.
So when him and Mississippi, when he was writing out the postcard,
right? I know. I saw that. Yeah.
And I guess I miss you. And then they did the cutaway scene with all of those postcards that was on the postcard, that was on the mirror.
Right.
You didn't catch it then?
No, I saw it.
So yes, I love this guy. I'm gonna let him get close, but I'm not gonna let him all the way in. And I can possibly attribute that to what's gonna come up with Uncle Cliff's backstory, not becoming gay, but exposing himself to that life. So I know that there has to be some sort of walk into this on how he got to being the way that he is. I'm looking at where he is right now. When he was in that, when Lil Murder was like, "This all we gonna do? We gonna do this in the dark."
Right.
Yep. What else you thought it was gonna be?
Because that's a good point. Because he wasn't allowing himself to be vulnerable then. He was trying to protect himself. Now here we go into season 2. All of a sudden, he's like really like acting like, okay, me and this guy are going to be a couple. Like, he's calling himself a woman, which is, I'm like, come on, anyway. But they're going to be a couple. I'm just like, come on, man, stop. Stop with that. I'm just saying. But he's, he's acting like they're going to be a couple. And I just see, again, the term this week is gaslighting. And I just see some manipulation coming. It's going to be coming from what I think Murder is. Well, you just wait and see. I think Murder is going to be doing a lot of manipulation, a lot of making Clifford second guess himself, because now Clifford's become more vulnerable. It's going to have him feeling like it's like he's got to apologize for something like that. Now that he's opened himself up for that, here comes the gaslighting. Because I don't even know if Murder is confident of where he is. I just think he's. We saw what happened. With his homeboy, but this, his homosexuality is. I don't know if he's 100% comfortable with it himself, and he's gonna be flipping back and forth.
He cannot be Big Frida. And I like how they incorporated Big Frida into this but he will never be a Big Frida.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know, Big Frida is openly gay. She is a rapper out of New Orleans. She does that bounce rap. And she's been able to do her thing on her terms. But here it is, you got Lil Murda, I'm a thug. And it's not supposed to go down like this. But my thing is, what got me is, how doesn't everybody already know if all of Uncle Cliff's crew knows? You're gonna sit here and tell me that all of them are gonna have been able to keep this secret, and what's called his grandmother knows. Cliff's grandmother knows.
Right. So I just think that it's going to get to a point where Dan's going to slap him in the face, and he's going to have to do something about it. And I just see where the toxic stuff that we've been talking about lately, you start to see it, come out in a lot of these relationships. One that we didn't mention was one relationship is Andre. So Andre's gonna now run for mayor, but you remember him in the beginning. He was behind that push to buy the club, representing the people that wanted to bring in the casino, and he's got his own failing relationship, failing marriage that he's trying to deal with. And one scene that really kind of resonated with me is you can kind of feel when so he goes back, he catches his wife cheating, and they have this discussion about him, and it was bad.
I'm not talking about that. Where you headed with this?
Yeah,
keep
but
going.
They have the conversation about him, about his job. She's trying to give him a job, and with her dad, and the house is not in his name, and basically he's insulted as a man. He feels emasculated, and she turns around and gaslights him, starts making him question his own decisions that she does. That was a great example of it. She basically gaslight, tell him, well, you could have had a job with my dad making, good money, and you turn that down, and for what? You think you want to be the mayor? You think she basically just, makes him just question all of his ambitions that he feels like he wants to do. And after he catches her cheating, and right then and there. But that's not the discussion. The discussion is, well, guess what? You're a failure at this. You should have done this. You'll never be mayor. Not I'm being unfaithful to you. But she immediately turns it around on him to make him question his own drive and ambitions.
You can't win, Rock. You can't win. She did him just like what's called him did Rock.
Well, wait a minute. Now she was worried about Rock. Rock almost did get killed now.
Okay. But the same thing, she's worried about him too, because my life is set. You as a man, how can you provide for me in my life? When he brought up the dude that she was cheating with, that he's always been there.
Always been around. Yep.
Same man that your mother wanted you to marry. This is the same man that did this. This is the same man that did that. This man has been a staple in our relationship even before I got here. And you concreted by cheating with this man in my bed. And then you're going to sit back and tell me I can't win.
Right.
But then it goes back to, I think that was last episode when they led into this?
Yes.
About what it was that he couldn't do, and he had to force himself to step his game up.
Right.
So I like how they walked out of that one, walked into this
one. But she uses, so and men do it too, but in that case it's the woman, she's using gaslighting to deflect from what she's done. You know, she's got him sitting there feeling, you know, some of the I'm reading this article here that says some of the common traits of gaslighters do is they refuse to consider your concerns. So now you're feeling ignored. You know, they restructure past events to shift blame to you. You didn't take the job that my dad offered you. You could have done more. They insist you did things that you know you didn't do. You know, she's basically she was blaming or telling him that the reason he's going back to Chuckalisa to run for mayor is because he's afraid of the challenges that a real job would give him, you know. And then she scoffs at him when he shared her what he shared his ambitions, you know. And that's a lot of what gaslighting feels like is who you are questioning, you know, yourself. You feel like, yeah, you got to apologize, but you're not sure what it is. Like she really was trying to make him apologize for the things that he's done, and he just caught her, you know, in the act. You know what I mean?
But this though, what she's saying is yeah, I effed up, but you are effed up.
Right.
This is what we do when we sit down and we have conversations. If I bring up bring up a situation that I'm having an issue with you about, the first thing that you do is you turn it back on me with what about me? We're not talking about me. You had your opportunity to bring this up with me, but you didn't. I'm discussing this with you. The path that I take with that one is I have learned to take myself out of the situation. And if you're going to bring a situation up with me, give me the opportunity to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. I can win an argument from that standpoint without having to bring you up in what you did. I can win an argument from my own defense. If I get to try my own case and I'm the one that's on trial, man, I can win that argument.
But why is it I gotta win an argument? Why is it I gotta win? Why is that? Why is it not just I want to discuss how I see it, and I want to hear how you see it. But you're going to respect how I see it, and I need to respect how you see it. And if we're on the same team, we're going to come to at least a conclusion that we both want to win. So we got to come to that similar conclusion.
No, we don't want to win. You want to win, and I want to win. We don't want to win. We are not on the same page. At this juncture right now, we are not on the same page. You want me to be on your page. So if you want me to be on your page, let's go there. Let's go there. But give me an opportunity to go ahead and explain why I did what I did. And don't inject your feelings with, well, if it were me, and if I would have did this and I would have did that. But I didn't. I did me. So I'm going to win the argument. This is America, sir. Somebody has to lose.
But when you start talking about winning and losing in a relationship, you're setting yourself up to.
Not in a relationship, sir. I said in an argument, not in a relationship.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, you're not. They're not the same.
When you're trying to win an argument, you're two people. You're in a relationship. And you're saying I got to win an argument. I'm not talking about we're debating something, but I'm talking about we got to win an argument. And it's you and your lady, you got to win an argument. I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
How?
Because you can't.
Most way, how?
Because you can't. This is what I'm saying. Like,
hold on for one second.
Right.
Dawn, if you are there, please help your boy out. He needs a lifeline. I got him on this one. He needs a lifeline, Dawn.
No, I don't need a lifeline. when you get into an argument about something, there's you can't view it not in a relationship. If you're married or you got a serious girlfriend, it's not I won, you lost. It's okay. It's how are we going to come to a mutual agreement on this? Like I need to respect how you see it. You need to respect how I see it. But to move forward, we're going to have to agree on how to do it. Now, I'm not talking about what's for dinner. I'm not like, all right, which one is the best hamburger helper. That we're not talking about that. We're talking about you know uh, a true disagreement on whatever thing. Maybe she goes out too much, or maybe he drinks too much, or she drinks too much, or whatever it may be. Something that's a something that's affecting the relationship. You can't say I won because if you won, the other person lost. If they feel like they lost, they're gonna develop feelings of resentment. That's just it. You resent when you lose. You develop resentment.
They are. Yes. Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Yes. But there is a difference between an argument and discussion. It starts out as then it turns into an argument. Like I was, we as men, the only time we start yelling is when we feel we're not being heard. That's when the voice starts getting escalated. That's when we start getting animated. That's when we turn into it's me against you. So yes, it starts out as a discussion, then it turns into a debate, then it goes all the way down to a full-fledged argument. When it's an argument, it's you are pushing your point. So I'm with you on the discussion part. I'm not trying to win a discussion. I'm looking to have a discussion. But once you take it there and we are in a full-blown argument, winning.
No, 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 no. And once it gets to the argument phase, it's something has been miscommunicated. And we talk about
Thank
communication a
you.
lot on this.
Thank you.
Just something has been miscommunicated, and it may or and it just may be that you know you're not listening, or she wasn't listening. When we're talking about the situation with Dre and P Valley, I think that relationship is too far gone. There's so much resentment and emasculation that went on in that. It is too far gone to repair. But in a relationship where two people have basically have gotten along and have developed a mutual respect for each other, when it gets to the point of an argument, they can talk through it. They can have an argument and still, at some point or another, that miscommunication, the part that was miscommunicated, is going to come out. Well, you did this because you said it, and like, wait a minute, no, I didn't. And you find the point of contention. Even though voices may be raised, it's not really an argument, not really a fight, but it is a heated discussion, and you find the point of contention, and then you figure it out. Like, oh, you thought I did this. A lot of times that's where it comes from. But you don't want to go into an argument with your significant other or spouse thinking I gotta win this, and she's got to lose, or she's got to win it. That's a recipe for uh, resentment.
Okay, but you shot ball with me.
Yeah.
You know how intense I get when I want to win.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. No, I don't want to get into an argument, and the reason I do not like to get into arguments, I know me. If some of the things that I have said, sorry would not fix it.
Right.
So that's why I do not like to argue. I am not above arguing. I just don't like to because it can go some places. Just like with Dre, way beyond the point of no return.
Well, yeah, you can feel an argument going get it turning ugly to which point like somebody's going to say something that they can't fix, that they can't take back. Um, you mentioned playing ball together. One of the easiest ways to beat the other team is to get them to start arguing with each other. Okay, and and when they start arguing with each other, they start arguing to I because I want to be right. That person wants to be right. I'm right. You're wrong. No, I'm right. You're wrong. When you've got them like that, you're gonna win the game. You're gonna win the game because once you break that, once you get into that disagreement, like you said, you get into that discussion that it elevates to the argument level, and all you want to do is win. Now you've gone to our word of the week. You start going to you're going to start gaslighting at some point or another. You're going to blame them for all kind of things. You're going to make them second guess with it, and you're going to take it all the way, all in a different direction than what the actual point of contention really is. You're going to bring in all kind of other stuff. You call them names. I mean, we've been on the ball court. You start arguing with a teammate, especially somebody you start arguing with a teammate about just hey, your man's burning you or whatnot, and instead of you talking about them not playing defense, now you talking about his shoes. He's talking about how he got cooked 3 weeks ago on another court. How you should have never picked him. It goes. You gaslight. You burn it all down. You couldn't play since the sixth grade. You bring up a whole nother, game, and that's why your girlfriend calls me. Those kind of things. You start gaslighting, and that happens when we are so focused on winning. And you can relate this even now to the political climate in the country. We are so focused on winning that I'm going to pull out all stops to name call you, to make you second guess, to destroy any kind of thought process that you may have with a bunch of just off topic stuff to insult you with. And P Valley, good example. That argument, and then when you're saying I got to win an argument, I just feel like that's the groundwork for gaslighting.
Well, I mean, I can win an argument without gaslighting you. I don't want to break you, but when you start, case in point, when we were talking about, when I brought up when I said the old lady claimed that I was using her, and you start questioning my character. Let's go there. That's not that. My character is not up for discussion. It's not up for debate. It either is or it isn't. So since you want to make it is, and it is issue, we bypassing discussion, we bypassing debate, we going straight to argument. And no.
Well, Don's comment here says person tries to win the argument when it becomes clear that the other person is uninterested in understanding and the resolution. Just want to say a bunch of words so to piss each other off.
No. If we want to deal with the truth, let's go ahead and deal with the truth. Because I have gotten that one in plenty of debates and plenty of discussions. I'm just telling the truth.
Right.
I'm just speaking the truth.
No, I mean I think there's a difference.
Really?
There's a difference between.
You want to play a truth game with me?
Well, there's a difference between an argument and a discussion. I think when it's a discussion, there's still some listening going on. There's still some. You're going to say something. I'm going to listen, I'm going to say something, you're going to listen. When it gets to argument level, you know, where are we at then? We're loud. We're only trying to get our point out. That's it. I don't even want to hear what you have to say.
That's where men lose arguments. It's because they don't listen. That's how you win arguments. Is you listen. As I instruct young men, 85% of a relationship is listening.
Yes.
A woman will tell you everything that you need to know about her if you listen and pay attention. But we don't. You take the same strategy and you inject that into a debate, a disagreement, an argument. You listen. You don't do it from an offensive. I'm big on not launching offenses. You stand your ground and you defend your point. You don't over defend it, because that's when you start getting into trouble, and then you start talking about, well, I never liked your mama anyway. Your mama's a hoe anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you're right.
So that's why I come in from winning an argument, is because you brought up a situation, you took it there, and I've decided I want to go there. After I've already clearly stated, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Let's sit down. I hear you out. My thing that turns discussions into arguments, I check out.
Yeah.
I hear what it is that you're saying. It kind of gets into that thing with the worst thing that a woman can say to us is, we need to talk.
Oh,
What that entails is, I need to talk to you. You need to listen. You need to do what it is that I'm saying. Back to the same thing in P Valley. If you had listened to me, you would be somebody.
Right.
But since you did not listen to me, you are a nobody. You will never be anything.
But I think that's that manipulation tactic we mentioned in gaslighting. And Don's question was, what's the purpose of arguing? Then what's the point? And I think what we're saying is, maybe we're not defining it right, but like, we have discussions. Me and Shimmy have discussions. We have heated discussions. We don't argue. Well, at least she does. Maybe I don't know. She might say something different, but we don't argue, because I think when you're arguing, all you want to do is hit them with your point. You're gonna, you just want to bury them. Like, if your words were tangible, you would take them and you'd hit them with it. That's, as you just want to nail them with your point. And in arguing, as it escalates, just opens the door for gaslighting. I mean, you talked about how you really don't want to do gas. I've done it before. I've gotten to an argument and just rattled off, boom, 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 hit them with, and then go and get something from a week ago, a year ago, something you did or something I didn't like, and hit you with that.
Hold on there, baby.
Yeah.
Hold on. I don't know. Get these marshmallows and go ahead and keep building this fire, because I got a gang of marshmallows in the back.
Right. I have done it. I'm working on that. I've worked on it where I don't, but I've done that. I will, man. Let me come on. I'm gonna let you know some things that you did I didn't like. I'm gonna, make you question some of your decisions, and may even throw in a few names, some name calling, things that had nothing to do with the argument. And then, of course, when I've done that, you later on, I feel you felt terrible about it. So Dawn, Dawn's two couple of comments have come in from her. Dawn said, "Dawn does not argue, so I'm not the person to ask. I guess I shut the foolishness down real quick. So she don't even entertain it. Okay,
Girl, you supposed to be able to shut it down.
yeah, she don't even entertain that. And then she says Almond Brown is a shit starter. LOL. Okay. No, no. I mean, maybe I was in my younger days. Maybe, probably, but it was my defense mechanism. I would say that I used it as a defense mechanism. A way to hurt people, a way to get back. If I felt hurt or if I felt cornered and shamed, it was my way to get back. Much like we keep going back to P Valley, in Dre's situation. She was just ashamed of herself, so she immediately went to her manipulation tactics of gaslighting. And we need to stop doing that in our relationships, people. We need to stop. We need to, and then it's a toxic trait. We tease you and call you the toxic avenger, but we've all got a little bit of toxic avenger in us at times.
No, we don't. We're perfect. We're beautiful. We're always right. You're always wrong. That's how we get into arguments. Is I saw something that was wrong. Shut up and listen and do what I said do, and then you will be a better person.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting
yeah,
here trying to tell you, you don't see the vision. You see the right now. Or you saw all the yesterdays. I'm looking for all the tomorrows. I got a plan for tomorrow. So instead of you sitting down and helping me to figure out how I can win this, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna talk to me about working for your daddy?
right, right.
Why you got this dude in your mouth? Nah, bro, go ahead with that there. I'll holler at y'all.
But see, the real painful thing for him was he's been feeling emasculated. You could get that from him. He's been feeling emasculated through the whole relationship.
No, this has been his whole entire life. He has never been good enough
Yeah.
for anything. Which was
Yes.
brought him back to that childhood episode that he was reliving.
Right.
You've never been good enough. You've never been smart enough. You've never been enough.
Right.
And she
Right.
basically told him the same thing. You are nothing. I'm a cheater. You are nothing.
Good point. Yeah. Really good point. And so, one of the things that I think where we all, in kind of, wrap up our mental health, our mental awareness segment, and wrap things up is what we need to do is uh, Don says I'm a May Taurus, which is just funny because that's another conversation there. But we're gonna wrap this up. Is that like we all need to recognize some of the toxic things that we do, some of the things that we use as defense mechanisms in our relationships are actually things that hurt our relationships. That push people away, that really damage things in relationships and build resentment. One of the things that's really hard to get out of a relationship when you start building resentment towards that person, it's hard to get out of it. And that resentment makes it easy for you to gaslight because you don't want to be there anyway, and you just want to hurt them, and it makes you easy to gaslight things. And so one of the other words that I've learned over the past year is being vulnerable. And we as men, and then we'll talk about this next week, we really have a hard time being vulnerable. What Dre couldn't do in his relationship, and maybe we'll see it as it goes on through the season, is learning how to be vulnerable to actually be able to say some of the things that he's been feeling that led him to, be quiet in this relationship and be basically sit in the corner and feel emasculated all this time, and be able to say it. And because he can't be vulnerable, Uncle Clifford season 1 was not vulnerable. Now Uncle Clifford season 2 becoming a little more vulnerable. Let's see how that turns out. But that is something that it's hard for men to do. And I hear it sometimes, and I know it in my voice. I hear it sometimes in some of the things you say. It's tough to be vulnerable because we aren't allowed to do that. You touched on that last week, so that's kind of what you know, to kind of wrap things up. I will next week, self awareness, the mental awareness part of the discussion is going to be about being vulnerable, and you know, so we've gone we've gone from anxiety to gaslighting to now finding ways to be vulnerable to combat those things. So Don says absolutely, self awareness and self reflection only help relationships. Amen. That's it. But it takes so long to figure that out. It's such a long road to figure that out. You know, I'm waiting for Toxic Avenger to you know to figure out some you know self. Let's see some self reflection. I hear it. I hear you mention it, but what did you learn from it? When you say you've destroyed some lives here and all that, what have you learned from that?
My life is much larger than my own. I'm not on this planet by myself. Other people have feelings. People's skin is not as thick as mine is. And it's not always cool to go for the juggler. That's how I learned mine, was that understanding, living life. I had to wreck a few vehicles first before I could. I honestly had to wreck a few vehicles before I could truly fall in love with the Honda and respect the Honda. Everybody want a Lamborghini. I just want them Hondas.
Yeah.
And I've wrecked a few.
All right. All right. Well, that's sort of a teaser for next week. That's going to bring the show to a close. We know this week was the topics were a little depressing and grim, but you know, that's just some things that we wanted to talk about and hopefully keep the discussion going. And next week we're going to do it again. Again, we're gonna focus in on mental health awareness, and we'll talk about vulnerability. We'll talk about some more headlines and in the news and pop culture, and have a little fun with it. And so, with that, my name is Almond Brown, you know, and I am one part of your host, and 1/3 of the host here. And Don says one thing before you go, please. Okay, all right. We'll let Don get a question put into the chat as I give my sign off. But I love it every week. You know, something I look forward to talking about. Just being more aware of our feelings and helping us be more vulnerable. And so keep the comments coming. I appreciate that, and we'll be adding some more guests. You know, as the weeks go on, we'd love to get some more viewpoints in here and some guest appearances. And so that's it. And I'm gonna turn it over to Headache for his sign off. And Don, we're waiting on you. You know, you're one more thing before we go. We'll see if it comes through. But I'll turn it over to Headache for his signature sign off.
Once again, I thank you all for for hanging out, being a part of this discussion. Hopefully, we brought some things that can spark some conversations. Hopefully, that we become better people while we're doing this, and that we're adding more than we're taking. As in always, be good. If you can't be good, be yourself. If you can't be yourself, be well. Shoot paper, not people.
All right, and then here's her comment. So here's Dawn's comment. I really appreciate this. She says, "Thank you for this. You are helping my healing process. My handsome, intelligent man is no longer with me, and you guys are filling a space for me. I appreciate you. Much love to you guys, man." Oh wow. Oh man. Well, Don, we appreciate that. Um, I understand you miss David a lot, and we think about you, and we're glad that we're able to fill a little bit of that void for you. I know we can't. We're definitely never going to replace him, but we just fill that void for him. We loved him too. David was a good man, and I enjoyed my conversations with him. Um, so, yeah, man, thank you, Headache. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you go ahead and end the stream for us, man. That was heartfelt. That was emotional.
I do thank you for Dawn personally. I do thank you for allowing us um, space in your life. That means a huge, uh, really big deal to me. That was the reason why I started this. Is that I wanted to give people a place where they didn't feel like they were alone. That someone could relate. That someone had their best interests at heart, and instead of taking from them, that one could be able to give something. And that's why I approached these gentlemen with this, because I felt that we had a whole lot to give to people for the stuff that we take from them, that we should be able to give something back. And I do appreciate that thoroughly, for being a part of your life. I do thank you for that opportunity,
Absolutely.
and I don't want to squander that. I don't want to misrepresent that. I don't want to take advantage of that. And I promise you, and as one of my exes will tell you, I don't promise anything. I promise you, we will not exploit that.
All right. And with that, good night. We're going to step up our game and make sure that we continue to bring some good topics to you and good discussions. And with that, we're going to sign off. See you next week on Shelf Space. Thanks.